All right, I think we're live. Cool, cool, cool. Welcome, everybody. My name is Gabriel Quinn. I am a concept artist, illustrator, viz dev artist, all that fun stuff. I primarily work in animation in games, and occasionally I'll do some illustration work for, whomever asks, whether it's like Lorcana or a, niche client, private commission, whatever it is. I'll do some stuff. But yeah, so today we're just going to be sketching in Photoshop. We're going to be talking about composition. If you guys have tuned into any of the past live streams, you know I love story. I love communicating that story visually through illustration, line, color, composition, energy, all that fun stuff. But really, we're mostly interested in narrative in this place. We love narrative. So I wanted to kind of have the theme of today be talking about composition, mostly, primarily, I suppose. And before I do that, I'm just going to check really quick to make sure that things got announced or posted. All right, looks like, all right, there we go. Yeah, amazing, amazing. What up, TRYV? Or I guess I'll just call you Triv? Who knows? But welcome. And this is a fully interactive stream. So if you have any questions about art, illustration, design, any of that stuff, feel free to ask it in the live chat. I always take a look over, every minute or so, I'll take a look over and answer any questions. So welcome, guys. And today, what I have pulled up here is an illustration I'm currently working on. This is for a banner I'm tabling at a pretty epic expo. Can't disclose more than that, but I need like a big banner illustration, so I'm planning on having this be my big banner illustration, I suppose. But yeah, I'm actually gonna quickly make sure that the folks over in the Discord community know the stream is happening. I don't think the notification went through today. Sometimes it's weird; it doesn't really go through. Um, but yeah, let's set that up really quick, and we'll go from there. Alrighty. Yeah, so I feel like composition usually gets talked about in a pretty um linear way, I suppose. Where we talk a lot about, rule of thirds, certain rules, the kind of oh, what's that term where you go super black and white? Oh gosh, my good friend Iris is always talking to me about it, and I always forget. But essentially, um, I want to say like seitan or something, or like it's like a certain kind of word. Anyway, um, going with that kind of like very aware of the shapes you're creating, of the energy you're creating. Yeah, we talk about it in those ways. So I feel like I'm just saying nonsense right now. Let me just quickly post this up here. Cool. Yeah, I feel like it's usually pretty linear, and people tend to talk about the stuff that's very kind of straightforward to understand, straightforward to communicate. There's a lot of value to be had from like sharing artistic skill on YouTube for whomever wishes, whomever wants to see. So there's always that benefit from people to kind of like see that stuff or to learn about that stuff. But again, I think people usually stay in the shallow end of the pool when talking about a lot of art fundamentals. So this stream I like to think of as a place where we can really kind of get into the nitty gritty and kind of go almost a little bit more abstract, a little bit more theory based with that stuff. So yeah, taking a look at this illustration here, right? I'm hugely inspired by the Art Nouveau movement, the Art Deco movement, all that stuff. So that kind of, symbolic representational composition is something I pay attention to a lot. Something I really, really love and enjoy. What up, Morgan? Welcome to the chat. Organosaur. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I'll break down this compositional sketch I made. So this is kind of, again, going to be a banner image. For now, what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to take out from this version here, I'm going to take out the text and kind of, the whole like work of Gabriel Quinn part. We'll kind of take that out for now and just examine the actual composition. So we'll cut this from the composition, boom, bam, and all we're left with is this kind of energy, right? So what we have here is, well, first of all, I created this composition firstly from a design challenge I host in my community Discord, which is $3 a month. If anyone's interested, you can join via Patreon. But yeah, it's a really fun Discord space where we host design challenges. I'm actually doing one right after this stream. We're going to be doing a challenge on composition. So if you guys feel like you want to hop in for that, feel free to join the Discord. But yeah, so what we have here is an interesting narrative around this kind of goblin king and sort of the sort of surrounding elements that we're seeing from the illustration. So punching in here, we see there's one kind of component in the front here with this big, large staff, this large stick, this banner, right, of this kind of happy goblin, happy young goblin carrying this banner, holding it up with their hands. And, this pose is kind of subject to change as I refine. But again, this is kind of what an early sketch for me can look like a lot of the time, especially with digital. And then the kind of accelerating energy of the tapestry here, right? So it's folding back in over itself, whipping around, doing all that fun stuff. Boom, bam, slam, right? So we're creating a lot of energy, and that momentum is building a lot of tension. And then it's kind of this sort of payoff here as it kind of breaks and goes off into the distance, right? So you kind of get this epic sense of direction. And on the front end here, we can kind of see that where we want the attention to be going is the information on the banner. So I have kind of some stand-in information here, which is just like goblin head, knife, 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 like just random stuff, which I put up here, which is cool. Just as a placeholder. And again, kind of having this sort of pulling back and then whipping forward kind of motion with the banner, having those different kind of energetic relationships with the shapes, I think is really, really great for these kind of illustrations. So yeah, we have a lot of energy coming back here. And then we have the King Goblin. This is kind of the main sort of focal point, or one of two main focal points, or really one of three, to be honest, but they kind of go by priority, right? So we have the kind of Goblin King in the front here, and he's kind of looking up and looking off. He's kind of looking above the flag, right? He's kind of above everything, but he himself is not necessarily above the information. So there's kind of almost a narrative implication here that story is very important, and what we represent on our flags and stuff is very important. So he's sort of coming after this story, this narrative, sort of like it's kind of giving him power and legitimacy. First comes the story, then comes the individual almost. It's an interesting thing, right? We have this young goblin proudly bearing this flag, totally into it, totally about it. And then we have almost like the underworld reality of what's happening, below the story, below the main character, below the main guy, the kind of main sort of king goblin here, and even the scribe in the back here, which is just a bunch of scribbles, but it's a scribe writing down some notes as it trails behind. We can kind of see it's almost like the story that they're leading with, the narrative they're leading with, the subject of the narrative almost being this kind of, this countenance with treasure and this and that, all that fun stuff. And then we have the kind of scribe goblin in the back recording what's happening, and it's kind of left up to the viewer to kind of figure out, like, is he writing propaganda? Is he recording accurate information? Who knows what's happening, right? But yeah, underneath all of this is kind of like the people who are really making it happen. So there's almost a classist narrative baked in here as well. And really all it is a silly sketch with a bunch of goblins. So this king being carried on his quest. I can't remember what it's called. Let me see what it's called. It's called a palanquin. Palanquin. But yeah. um, yeah, the idea of, like, he's being carried around by all these individual goblins, which is pretty awesome. Oh, we got some more people in the chat. We got Marco, Myher, Anycat. Welcome, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, it's me, the server host guy. That's me. And Anycat says, "Let's go. Finally caught you live." Yeah, dude, you did. You caught me. Shiny Pokemon. I'm here live. Let's go. But yeah, we got a lot of fun stuff going on here. And then for me, what I love a lot is kind of pattern, extravagance, telling story through pattern. So we've got this kind of patterned rug, whipping through all throughout the design here, kind of this sort of extravagant, it's just like almost too much material for the chair, right? And the chest is so much, and the cushion he's sitting on is so much. It's almost too much. One thing you'll notice with him holding the sword here is that he's not pointing it up, right? If he was pointing it up, this would kind of send the energy up and away, right? So it would kind of be this forward facing motion. Like, you can imagine if we had the sword pointing up, we would have new ideas about who this individual is. And all the energy coming from the story would almost like be a wind up for that payoff of the sword, and everything else would kind of be in support of this kind of sword line going forward. Even if it was going forward straight, it would be the similar thing, that it would have this sort of forward motion or forward momentum. Where really I didn't want to communicate that. I wanted to have almost a passive feel. So he's holding the sword, but it's like facing back. It's creating a sense of, depth, kind of coming from back to foreground here. And then, as you can see, developing this further, I lowered the opacity, started putting some lines down, and you can see the difference from the beginning to when I actually start to put the lines down. I'm including a lot more information about the expression of the character, about the hands, how the hands are sitting on the throne. All these things are contributing to the composition. The tension in the fingers are contributing to the composition. It's not just like you have this macro view and that's all that composition is. It's really every possible thing involved in an image that makes up its composition, right? Um, but sticking with the kind of definition of composition, it's kind of like what this image is made up of, right? And we can kind of see a lot of the elements that it's made up of here. So I wanted to kind of cover that as a little case study, and it's still a work in progress. So we'll see how this image progresses, and when it's done, you'll see it on Instagram, ArtStation, wherever. Feel free to go check me out on those platforms and all that fun stuff. But yeah, so you can kind of figure that out from here. But yeah, let's see. So we got that going on. So today, I want to talk about composition, maybe take some questions. I see there's currently 20 people at the start of the stream kind of, hanging out. And I see 9 of you guys have liked. Thank you so much. Yeah, if you guys feel like you want to like the video or, comment stuff you want to see in the future, anything like that, definitely do so. It really helps us out to put on these kind of live streams and stuff. And yeah, definitely excited to be back in the habit of streaming and sharing this information with you guys. It's really fun. So yeah, let's hop back into it here. I was thinking today maybe we could just sketch some stuff out, come up with some ideas, and just kind of think about composition, think about sketching. Um, yeah, there's some other kind of works that I'm working on currently, some kind of funky stuff like this image. This has an interesting composition, a lot of foreground elements going into the background elements with a kind of a sci-fi twist here. This was for a cool project. But yeah, let's see. We can honestly just do some free sketching, I think, before anything else, right? I have all the backups for all the times I was wanting to try something new with the line art. I always kind of make a copy, so I, I have it just in case. But yeah, let's make a new layer and maybe start sketching. See what we can come up with here. And I'll warm this up a little bit, this kind of background tone, so that I don't burn your eyes out if any of you guys are watching this later on at night or something, right? But yeah, any questions you guys have about composition or character, anything like that, you can go ahead and ask. To keep it fresh for now, though, I think what I'll do is I'll come up with maybe a random prompt for myself. So let's see, maybe we can do like a random quote generator or something like that. Gosh, there really is a random something for everything, I guess. Yeah, let's see. Okay, so we got a fun Lao Tzu quote here. Time is a created thing. To say I don't have time is like saying I don't want to. Huh. Interesting. Maybe we'll random quote again and see if we come up with something cool. Okay, these quotes seem to be pretty preachy, I guess. We want something maybe a little bit more random. Haha, this is a fun one. All right. So we got a George Bernard Shaw quote here. I love this, so we'll include this on the page. We'll see what we like. So we got for our quote that we're kind of thinking about a composition. The secret of being miserable is to have the leisure to bother about whether you're happy or not. I actually I like this quote a lot. I think there's a lot of truth here to be had. So we can kind of think about this as maybe like our footer image, and you know how kind of you see like in New York Times, maybe you have the footer quote or like the kind of punchline at the bottom. we can potentially even think of this in a similar way, right? Where we can sort of include this at the bottom as we sketch out our composition. And oftentimes, the first thing I see people do when they talk about composition is they jump to this kind of thing of like, all right, let's set up our box. All right, let's put our horizon line down. All right, now let's build out our composition. And it's kind of like, yeah, if you're going to make an image, right, and you want that image to represent a moment or something, and you really want it to feel like you're in a world that is that thing, you can kind of jump into that and kind of live in that, right? But really, kind of what I want to look at here is what happens when we don't have the box, right? So now we're going to look at different elements of composition. Let's say, like, value, we got shape, we got energy, or like, in brackets, flow, right? So you have like different kind of different elements here, right? Value, shape, energy, flow, all these different things that we love about composition. What happens when we just sort of have that and not much else, right? Or we're kind of almost left with a blank canvas. Like that in and of itself adds a different quality to the composition, right? Let's check on the chat here before we dive into sketching, though. So Aniket says, your VODs have helped me a lot with storytelling through good character design. Dude, let's go. So happy to hear that. That's awesome. And we've also got Aurora's is in the chat. Oh my gosh, hello. Aurora's wonderful, wonderful community member on the Discord and one of my past students doing really, really great work. Super happy to see you here. This is funny too. Like, yeah, I'm too tired to be miserable. It's true. It's true. I personally feel like I've been at my happiest when the work I've been doing has been just so exhaustive. I don't really have time to ponder, I suppose. And then we got Sinem Kiemez Ki Kiemez. You're gonna have to help me with the pronunciation. But yeah, welcome. Says first time catching you live. Let's go. Hey, it's my first time to have you in the chat. So let's go. Oh, Noise Tune, welcome, buddy. Awesome. So yeah, so let's think about this quote here. So we got some themes, right? First of all, one theme that I like about this quote is we've kind of got this almost humorous description of the secret of being miserable. Like if you really want to know how to be miserable, this is how you do it. Like this is the secret, right? So we've got a funny, humorous opening here. And then the secret is to have the leisure to bother about whether you're happy or not. So we've got leisure and we've got bother. So those are two interesting, very proactive words in this quote, right? And they kind of are painting a picture for us about, let's say, an individual who is finding themselves to be describing or feeling like their life is miserable, right? Or just to find themselves in a state of being miserable. This is great. So my deadline is about 40 minutes because I got to go host an event in the Discord after this. So we're going to keep this one pretty short, pretty fun. But yeah, we're kind of doing a fun challenge together, I guess, today. So we've got leisure. So this sense of relaxation. Immediately, I'm sort of like thinking about, some kind of reclined position, some kind of reclined energy. And this kind of sense of like to bother whether you are or aren't. So it's kind of like a wondering, like an if or if not potentially. That's an interesting thing to think about too. So maybe we see, something kind of in the air. Maybe there's some subject here that is kind of interplaying, right? Like we want it like almost like a passive feel, right? Sinem, awesome. Last name is not necessary. Fair enough. Well, welcome, CNAM. Thanks for the pronunciation help. Alrighty, yeah. So immediately I'm thinking of an individual, right? Maybe an individual who's lounging perchance, they're thinking, but this is almost like dreaming too much, right? So I almost want the energy here to be contained, right? I want a sense of like closed offness and containment, right? So maybe the silhouette of the character is really kind of following this exterior and everything that's kind of happening within is relevant to the situation, right? I'm also almost like wondering if like we want the character here to be in a state of like almost obsession, but like almost like maybe a passive obsession. So if you think about these really pushed figures we see in maybe some animated feature film or some games sometimes where we have a really strong silhouette, this is kind of almost a caricature of what people say when they talk about shape design. You know what I mean? Like oftentimes gravitating towards very straightforward um, shapes and kind of moving in from that macro view. It's something that I would not discourage, but it's definitely like one of many approaches. But let's just say, for instance, this is what we're going with here, right? Ooh, gotta stretch out my leg. You guys ever have that thing where your muscle starts to tighten up and like if you don't stretch it out, like it's about to like seize up forever and you're gonna die? Oh, remember to stretch out, guys. Take care of your mental and physical as artists. We have to. Um, but yeah, let's see. I find myself here with like almost a wondering character. Maybe their leg is kind of stretched out here too. And maybe this leg too is actually stretched out. So we kind of see the knee here and maybe we see the toes kind of coming forward. This character's very much into what's happening here. So my mind kind of at first goes to like almost maybe a chessboard composition, right? Thinking about like, what if we had something here that was kind of implying some kind of problem solving or some kind of like debate or inner game happening with the main character. Like that's kind of how it feels, at least for my life, whenever I am maybe dwelling on the negative things of life. It feels almost like maybe a battle. But also, I feel as though maybe there's something more to be found here, something more interesting. Um, let's see. Noise Student says, or when your heart tightens. Oh gosh, I don't know if I've experienced that quite as much. Maybe you should go get screened for something. It's possible. Definitely, this is just a recommendation, but definitely continue to get checked up, guys. Like take care of your yourselves. Oh no, maybe I have experienced my heart feeling a bit more tight. Yeah, I guess I do know what you mean. Um, and Solaire says a Charlie horse. Yeah, maybe, possibly. I always thought a Charlie horse is when someone like hits you in the side of your leg or something, or I'm not sure. Um, yeah, so I'm thinking chess game maybe, but let's copy this over. You can the thing about digital, you can always save your progress pretty much. You can start over. So instead of thinking about a chessboard, I think maybe one thing we could do is think about maybe this idea of like the scale. Like I love the scale as a symbol, right? You see it in tarot, you see it in classical art, you see it in religious art. This kind of symbol of the scale, right? And you have the kind of weighing basket thing, and it's kind of hanging in the whatever. And isn't there like an iconic like Lady Justice or something that has this composition to it? Let's see if we can find it. Yeah, yeah, exactly. We got Lady Justice here. She's kind of sick. Yeah, check out this symbolism. This is epic. Whoa, that's suggestive. Maybe not that one. Um, I'm always so aware of what I bring into stream. Like I'm so aware of it. So hyper focused. See if we can find a decent image here. I like the one where she's got the sword. That's the thing. I really like the sword one. It's so cool. Yeah, so oftentimes like Lady Justice has this look, right? With the kind of the scales, the sword, and they're looking quite stoic and epic, right? So that's one thing we kind of maybe want to remember. There's some stuff here. But obviously this is not that kind of stoic character. It's more, I guess, pertaining to the idea of like bothering to do something unnecessary, right? So I think if we kind of add in maybe some like little pebbles here or something like that, some little pebbles that are kind of weighing on the thing. Maybe this character is about to place another one. They've got another pebble here. About to put another pebble on. And in this hand, maybe they have like a few other pebbles too. We could put like a few in their hands potentially. right? Maybe like an open hand or something. They just have like so many pebbles. Um, and I think also we can just scatter them around too. Like this idea that there are just so many pebbles around because again, we're thinking about leisure, right? Leisure, waiting, all that stuff. We can maybe even think like it's possible they're like sitting in almost a mound of pebbles. We can kind of block off the main shapes of the pebble mounds potentially, but the idea is they're surrounded by all of these bits and pieces that maybe they're seeing if they can like weigh and measure to decide whether or not their life is happy or not. Oh, we got some activity in the chat. Let's go. Charlie horse is the common name for a muscle spasm or cramp. Oh, interesting. The more you know. Thanks for the education. Oh my God. Gustavus says, how many layers do you have? I've got a few. Well, this is a big file for me because I'm organizing portfolio information. So it's kind of just like my current working file. I don't know why I do this, but but I just tend to do this. It's not very smart, I guess. Gustavo says, "What? I think my computer would actually blow up." Yeah, maybe. I think honestly, I really push my machine to the absolute limits. I was an early adopter of the Apple Silicon, so I got the M1 Mac Mini when it was like $700, super cheap. It was I got it as a temporary computer, but I can have a 6K image with hundreds of layers and while I'm streaming and it still runs fine. Like honestly, this machine is blowing my mind every single day. I am getting into the market for an upgrade though, since I'm doing more video production stuff. It's been a bit of a barrier, but yeah, this machine is hugely impressive for me. The M1 Mac Mini is just so good. I've got a mic hooked up, all that stuff. The only issue is currently Sony's camera driver is not up to date with the current Mac thing. So like my camera doesn't work right now. So I gotta wait for Sony to update, and then we'll have Circle Camera Gabriel back. But for now, you'll have to be content with my voice, I guess. Um, Anycat says, do you have an ArtStation account? You can find all my socials in the description. My link tree is there. You can find everything you possibly need there. But my ArtStation is very inactive currently. I really haven't posted that much to ArtStation. And that's honestly just my own I think mistake potentially or something. I don't know. Um, I was never really an ArtStation guy to begin with. I always found myself much more. Um, I don't know. I love concept art. I love the industry. I love working in concept art, but the world of concept art is something I've never felt too connected to, I guess. So I haven't felt super compelled to post a lot on ArtStation. It feels like the medium isn't necessarily speaking to me too much. Um, but I do want to make a better habit of posting on ArtStation because I think it is for everyone, even though it feels like it's only for like, elite concept artists who post everything in a giant project. Like you can post whatever you want. And I do potentially want to have a bit more freedom and feel more comfortable posting on there more. But yeah, for now, I guess I feel like I'm not quite the concept art bro that you typically see on ArtStation, but the community is so diverse, so I don't know why I have that barrier, that intuition, but yeah, I do have an art station. I've posted a few things on there, but nothing too crazy. Um, yeah, I don't think I have quite the presence there. I was much more active on Instagram, but even Instagram, man, I just doesn't feel good posting there anymore. Honestly, I just like streaming on YouTube. That's been just so much more fun. Um, but yeah, let's see. So I'm really implying a lot here, right? I'm implying a lot, I'm kind of inferring a lot. But again, this idea of like weighing with these pebbles, like for hours and hours, and there's no shortage of pebbles around this character. I do actually like this composition a lot. I think it could be interesting if maybe there's another element, like maybe a bird who's like looking down as well. Like, what's going on there? Like, are you okay? Or something like that. You know what I mean? Something kind of funny. Like a sandpiper. I'm imagining a sandpiper here, I guess. Little sandpiper character or something. Wondering what's going on. And for me, what naturally will come up is like a natural sense of shape and balance and motion, right? Because for me, I'm a trained illustrator. I've been at this for, gosh, decade and a half, just on the art grind, learning as best I can, all that stuff. So like, for me, when I sketch stuff, I can't escape certain shape relationships. So I know I'm like busting out the sketch, and maybe it seems like there's something that like I know that maybe you don't, but really a lot of it's just practice, just kind of nailing down all this stuff, right? Um, or at least like the sense of flow. So one thing that I've kind of created here is this sense of rhythm and movement and flow. So we've kind of got probably what's going to be very important information on the face. It's going to be flowing out and following this natural kind of like Fibonacci sequence, golden ratio sequence. And when you look at it enough and you kind of put your paces into art, like you'll find a lot of your work tends to follow this kind of natural compositional flow that you yourself feel privy to. So anyone feeling like their work is maybe not as good as they want it to be or anything like that, just know so much of it naturally comes from practice and kind of your own disposition, intuition, and the things that you like. So the more you invest into what you like, the more you invest into the things that you're interested in, the more you're going to be able to see that reflected in your work, which is just such a gift to be able to create visually. I really mean that. Like, that's what I try to communicate to everyone who's trying to get into art, is that it's just such a gift to be able to do the alchemical magic that is visual art and illustration and drawing. We're very lucky to have access to this skill because it used to be a skill for the elite. You wouldn't be able to learn any of this stuff. There was no YouTube, there was no nothing. You would just be working in your hometown, but there you go. Ba 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 ba. Let's see. Braylon Schroeder says, "Hey, how's it going, dude? It's going so great. Thanks for asking." Noise Tune says, "For some reason, I thought you were newish because you looked young." A decade is a long time. Yeah. Well, I started selling paintings at 16. So, yeah, no, not a decade and a half. Definitely not that. No, I would have been, yeah, no, I would have been too young. No, not a decade and a half. Sorry. I conflated two things, actually. No, more like a decade, I think. But I started selling paintings when I was 16. And that was my introduction into art and the art world, was really going after it at that age. And I went through a fine art phase, design phase, illustration phase, and all that fun stuff. And then I, went to university, art school, all that fun stuff. And then now I found myself working a lot in the entertainment industry. But, these days I'm kind of doing everything, man. I'm doing like graphic novel stuff. I'm doing illustration stuff. I'm doing still design stuff for animation. And yeah, it's kind of all over the place. Um, but yeah, definitely not new. That's for sure. Oh man, part of me sometimes wish I like had maybe that new energy still, because like there's such a fire um, and an exciting quality to getting into visual art. Once you're in it for so long, it's like, yeah, it's kind of sometimes easy to forget just how fun this stuff is, Um, yeah. So, in any case, um, Solaire says, "Me for real, for real. My first commission was a 16." Yeah, exactly. Braylon says, "What school did you go to?" So I went to Norwich University of the Arts in England for illustration. Um, it was a pretty fun school. I think I would recommend it the same as I would recommend any art school. It has its pros and cons. If you can afford it and you want to spend 3 years, like getting that social experience and being around other people, like there are some benefits to that. But typically I don't advise people on whether or not to go to art school. But I did enjoy my time there, and a lot of the faculty were great. A lot of the faculty were absolute hacks, and that's anywhere you go, right? But yeah, so yeah, that's where I went to art school, Norwich University of the Arts, baby. Shout out to England. Yeah, there was no way I was gonna be in art center debt. Art center debt is like, there's just no way, man. I'm not doing that. That's insane. That's insane, man. Gosh. Especially now, dude. Especially now. Like all the people who taught at Art Center are all teaching online, man. It's like there's very little reason to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars going to art school. That's crazy. I have a British passport, so my education costs like less than 30K total across 3 years. So, and I got an honors degree. So I don't know, man. I don't know about art school in the U.S. Noise Student says, "Do you work on personal projects to have fun?" Yeah, I think I do. I definitely do. I can't help but work on personal projects, man. It's like breathing for me, man. You know, it's I just have to do it. But yeah, yeah. I also want to stay true to the theme here. I'd keep talking about composition. If you guys have any composition questions, I'm happy to answer those too. Because I know it's a broad subject, and sometimes we don't feel like we have access to maybe spaces where we can ask more niche or strange questions. So I definitely want to make space for that for you guys as well. For sure, but also no pressure. I mean, if you guys don't have any composition questions, that's fine. But I feel like we've got a pretty fun composition happening here already. You know, with kind of like he's placing the pebble, he's got his other pebbles, and maybe we can move the edge of that over here. And we've got his little bird friend potentially. Maybe we can move the bird friend over a little bit so it's not so in the pocket. You know what I mean? And maybe keeping with that other theme of that Fibonacci esque momentum. Boom bam boom bam. But yeah, I do work on tons of personal projects. I have like so many personal projects. It's crazy. He looks like a sumo wrestler. The contrast between the tiny pebbles and him is cool. Yeah. So, actually, it's worth talking about shape design here, maybe. Shape design is a very elusive concept for people, and it's something that I'm very hesitant to talk about because I feel like if you teach it in an overly simple way, people will leave with an overly simple overview or outlook on what shape design is, and it'll really stop them from progressing because shape design is so much more than just big, medium, small. It's so much more than just appeal. It's about relationships. It's about contrast. It's about in the minutia, right? It's like it's in the DNA of the image almost. So like, for instance, him versus the pebbles, it's interesting because you'd think like the competing shape is maybe the main character and then you have all the little tiny pebbles. But really there's actually quite a healthy balance here where you've got a sort of like 70-30 energy wise in terms of we've got the main character here taking up this amount of space and and that's kind of like the 70%, right? And then you've got these mounds on the side, and they're taking up another maybe 30% collectively. Or maybe my ratio is a little bit off. Maybe it's more 60-40. But you've got that contrast, right? But since the pebbles are so small here, and we've kind of grouped them in with these macro shapes by using this kind of slight hatch technique and sketch technique, what ends up happening is you're reading it as one main shape. Versus if the pebbles were closer to maybe the size of the fingers or a little bit bigger, it would be a super busy, noisy mess. But because we've made them small enough, they're actually able to. They're not competing for dominance. They're actually being submissive to the overall shape here. They're in service of the overall shape of the mounds. That's a very important component of this illustration. That's kind of what's making it work in large part. So that's a fun thing to take a look at as well. We've got someone in the chat that says 392 EYC. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We've got a question. As somebody new to drawing and starting off on a pencil and paper, what should I learn to help me progress in drawing? Dude, that is the number one classic question to end all art questions, man. Like that's the root of it all, right? Like what should I do? And man, there's no one size fits all, right? Definitely not a one size fits all answer there. But I think the number one thing that will get you somewhere is if you draw what you like. And if that's just a woman's face, then start with that. You know what I mean? Because what you like will change too over time. But never feel discouraged or never stop yourself from drawing what you like. I think just drawing what you like is a huge way to get mileage. So it's like you're essentially like running your drills. So, in ballet, you have to repeat the same motion over and over and over and over and over. And that's allowing you to have autonomy, control, and mastery over your body, right? Drawing is the same way. You have to attain that kind of mastery. So your hand does what your mind tells it to do, essentially. And it's intuition based. It's not like a conscious, like, go, make the line go over here. It's like all very natural, right? So I think drawing what you like, making sure that you're drawing quite a bit in a fun way, in a way that's not necessarily draining to you, and try and hit that perfect curve between what is challenging you and building on the foundation you already know. But of course, as always, it needs to be mentioned that every artist will benefit from learning about the fundamentals of visual art. If you don't know what the fundamentals are of visual art, then I certainly don't have a video for you. But there are a million videos on YouTube, so you can give a search to like what are the visual art fundamentals. There are certain channels like Proco, really great for that kind of stuff to handle the more technical side of things. And all that fun stuff. But just know that, the mundane training, the stuff that you do, it's leading you towards being able to be like essentially like an alchemist of narrative and art and design. Like you are an alchemist, right? That's what you are when you choose to be an artist. So, yeah, and believe in yourself. Just have fun with it mostly. But yeah, Lady Joelle says, "What are you drawing today?" I just took kind of a prompt from a quote, a random quote we found, and I'm sketching a composition. We're kind of talking about composition today mostly. So that's sort of what we're into right now. That's what I'm drawing, and I did a little explanation or a little walkthrough of a larger illustration I'm working on. Yeah, it's this one. So pretty fun. So I talked about this one earlier. You can go back on the VOD and you can watch back my kind of walkthrough of this composition. What it means, what it kind of took to get there, and all that stuff. And now we're exploring and doing just an idea live for everybody to be a part of, for everybody to be here for. So you can kind of see the process of working out an idea, right? Let's do a little time check. All right, I've got about 15 more minutes to answer questions and to kind of be here, I guess. Alrighty, right. We've also got Sunny in the chat. What up, Sunny? Facecam is on hiatus until Sony updates their drivers for their cameras. So, unfortunately, I can't be on Facecam until I get the driver working again. So, you can send a letter to Mr. Sony and beat him up or something, extort him. I don't know. That was a joke. That was a joke. Do not extort the CEO of Sony. Lady Joelle says, my favorite animal to draw are raccoons and black bears. Oh, big shape. Love that. You'd love the work of David Coleman. Does really great animal sketches. And Annie Kett says, I started drawing because I want to draw attractive anime girls. Now I'm working I'm working as a professional concept artist. Dude, I know so many people who's that's been their journey, man. So drawing what you like does work. And a lot of artists will tell you like you got to learn the fundamentals, drill the fundamentals, blah, 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 blah. And a lot of the time, advice you're going to get is from people who wish they did certain things differently. And they're going to tell you their hindsight advice of like, oh, you should do this and do that and do this. Because in their head, they're like, oh, well, if I did that, then I would be so much better than I am now. But really, they didn't do that. They drew what they liked a lot of the time. They had fun and they just kind of kept with it. That's most of the artists who make it to the end, right? The artists who just kind of just keep with it. So I feel personally that it's better to just stick with it, do what you like, get after it, and respond to the natural ambition and drive that's within you, and kind of pursue the things that you want to develop, the things that you want to include in your art. If you want to include, a sense of realistic lighting to kind of create that sense of wonder in your work, boom, now you got to learn the physics of how light works, and what a joy it is to study that stuff, right? So that's pretty cool. 8 years since you started. Nice, Annie Cat. That's sick. Great. That's amazing. Yeah, I didn't get into concept art, gosh, I think 3 years ago, I got into it. I saw a Disney VizDev talk from Lightbox Online, and I was like, boom, this is what I'm doing now. Because I was going to go into comics, but I graduated art school right into COVID, so not many options there. And now I've had so much fun. I've worked on TV show pitches. I've worked on games. It's, indie games, bigger games and stuff. It's so fun, man. I love this job. It's great. And recently I've been teaching too. It's been such a blast, man. Teaching people, it's been so cool. Oh yeah, also I've got a couple slots. So a few mentees that I've had have kind of, finished their journey, I guess, with me. And I've got some extra slots during the week. If anyone's interested in mentorship, one-on-one mentorship with me, definitely reach out. And you can shoot me a note kind of anywhere, Instagram, you can contact me anywhere you like, and I'll probably see it. And yeah, if you're interested in pursuing one-on-one mentorship, meeting either once a week or once a month or whatever, then yeah, I can help you figure out a lot of stuff with your work, how to move forward, how to kind of get what you want out of your work, all that stuff. Boom, bam. I'm not running the class again for a while. So I ran the class twice. My 7-week character design class, and that has run its course for the time being. It's so much work on my end, and I learned so much. I want to consolidate the learning I did before I run it again. But it was really great. Shout out to all those students. They did such amazing work. Yeah, and I also want to keep giving back on YouTube and just, a lot more stuff for free too. Just information. Just be here talking to you guys, talk to you about whatever you like. Yeah, I kind of want his stomach to be just so all pervasive in the design here. Just a big old tum. And maybe the chest kind of folding over here too, so you get that sense of, him leaning over, being very, very busy. He's kind of giving a kingpin a little bit, right? He's kind of got that kingpin energy. All right, let's check our time here. All right, we got about 10 minutes left. So, any questions you guys have, definitely ask in the chat. Plexel says the biggest thing that helped me with composition was learning how to tell a story and asking the right questions. That's so true. Such a good point. Asking the right questions, knowing what questions to ask. What am I trying to get out of this image? What do I want this image to say? What do I want the audience experience to be? What do I need to make this work? Is this working? Is this in service of my story? Or is this to the detriment of my story? Is this confusing? Am I conflating two things? Am I diluting what I'm trying to say? All those things are very much relevant, right? I love this drawing though. This is really fun. So, yeah, we wanted to talk about composition today. I haven't gone into too much detail with many of the elements here. And there's a lot of themes that are common in my work. So like a big guy kind of sitting in this position, like it's actually quite common for me to do this kind of composition or this kind of um, effect, I suppose. But yeah. Oh, Aurora says big plug was life changing for my art journey, dude. Oh my gosh, yeah, man. So happy people got so much out of the class. Like that's so awesome. And the one-on-one mentorships, man, they're so fun for me too, just to kind of talk through stuff with people, share the stuff that took me a long time to learn, but it's make it available for people. And I had a hard fought journey with art, man. Like I was alone in Bermuda learning how to do this. So like um I really kind of I guess specialize in helping people kind of get on track, I guess. Noise Student says, I feel like I can learn art by myself, but I do need someone to hold me responsible when I'm stalling. Interesting. Yo, what up, Ryan? Aurora says, did a little draw along, posted in the Discord. Awesome. Heck yeah, let's go. Mixter D. Gabriel's back. I am back. Let's go. Lady Joelle says, would you do any live stream in a sketchbook? That would be fun. If I could get my camera to cooperate, then I would definitely be down to try that out. That'd be really fun. Do a little dual camera or something like that. I mean, I've got the one cam, so it'd be a bit of a, thing, but I would love to do a traditional stream. That'd be fun. Um, CNAM says, every time I watch you work, it looks like you're literally feeling the rhythm, and I admire that so much. Let's go. Yeah, I love the rhythm. It's just like, I need it to be that way. Like, I don't know. I'm a pretty obsessive guy. I feel like a lot of artists are obsessive people. CNM says, I always get so anxious when I try to do that, and I start to compare even my brush lines to my favorite artist brush lines. Yeah, that that's a tale as old as time, my friend. Tale as old as time. Um, Deleted all social media. Hope that helps. Yeah, I mean, it can help. I think having a bit of a detox is good, where you're able to take breaks or kind of get a little bit more of that time for yourself. But really, I think A lot of the time, of course, the change has to happen internally, but sometimes internal change can't happen if you're in a particular habit or pattern. So I think taking a break from social media can be good, as long as you're doing it with a conscious effort to kind of explore and figure out who you are, and you're really invested in that. Otherwise, it can kind of feel like hiding, and then that feeling almost becomes that fear becomes a reality in many ways. And I'm guilty of that for sure, of kind of like hiding away almost, not necessarily making my work available for people. I have so much stuff I haven't posted, man. It's crazy how much work I have that I'm sitting on. It's not good. I know some other artists who do that, and I look at them in confusion, like, why the heck don't you post this stuff? And it's like, I'm doing the same thing, so I can't really, can't really, you know, give them a hard time. Rose says, I've been writing so much recently. Doing a quick sketch was fun, even if I won't be able to attend the event today. Oh, nice, nice, nice. Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. Ryan says, I'm hiding from social media. Yep. Dude, I feel that. I feel that vibe. I understand. I fully understand, buddy. Alrighty. Okay, cool. Yeah, so we're nearing towards the end of the stream here, and just again, if you guys are new, if you're watching live, you rock. You're awesome. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you. Shout out to all the lurkers. I love my lurkers. I love my lurkers so much. Giving you guys a big kiss on the forehead. Mwah. Big old smoochie for you. And to all the OGs in the chat, big love to you as well. I love talking to you guys. Love answering your questions and hearing your thoughts. It's so great to have you all here. Um, it's really really great to be back in the swing of things. I think this drawing was pretty fun. Um, I think maybe we want to get a bit more expression here into the face before we go. You know, to have that kind of frustration, right? Yeah, there we go. Boom, bam. But yeah, big shout out to the chat. You guys rock. Um, And dude, huge shout out to the patrons. Oh my gosh, you guys make this possible. Everybody who contributes to Patreon, you guys are amazing. I'm so grateful. You guys really make the stream possible. I would not be able to have it be a part of my schedule without you guys. Like actually, like I wouldn't be able to afford to. So I really, really appreciate all the support coming in from the Patreon. You guys rock. Right now, the only tier on the Patreon is just $3, pretty much. So if you guys do want to contribute, that's the best way. I'm going to be adding in some more tiers just for support if people want to just give more. Um, but yeah, we're definitely going to be continuing to do more in the Discord. People who've been there for a while know we run a lot of events, a lot of challenges, a lot of world building challenges too, which is really exciting. Um, but yeah, definitely thank you guys to the patrons. You guys rock and roll. Any last edits I want to make to this before we sign off? I think it's honestly, I think it's probably fine for now. I really like this composition. I actually might finish this. The only thing it needs is maybe just some more scale, I guess, like just adding a bit more mass to the character, right? I feel like that's just the only thing it needs. One thing about digital that's so amazing is you can just do this. Like that's so cool that you can just do that, right? But now that we're kind of taking up more space, if we want to make it really kingpin, we could do this. But I feel like that's not even really serving the main themes here. All right, let's check the chat just before I go. Oh damn, that's tough, Moskin. Yeah, definitely give that some serious thought for real, because that's a real deal commitment you're thinking about. Rose is looking nice. Yo, thanks. She also says join the Patreon, the Discord if you want to participate. Oh yeah, true, true, true. Yeah, we're gonna do a challenge right after this, which is pretty hype. Pretty hype. But yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. You guys rock. And oh my gosh, please let me know what you guys want to see more of. Like, I really want to see, I really want to respond to what you guys need, what you guys want to know about or discuss or learn about. Like, you know, I've got no agenda here, man. Like I kind of just want to, I want to just kind of respond to what you guys need and what you want to talk about. So definitely let me know. Like that's my main want out of this, right? So so definitely let me know in the comments below and like the video, all that fun stuff. You guys rock. Nothing more to say. Nothing more to say. You guys rule. And yeah, I'm gonna sign off here. Thanks for being here during this kind of sketch phase. And if you guys missed the earlier part of the VOD, definitely check it out. Human anatomy. Oh gosh, there's a million videos on YouTube for human anatomy. I guess you know what? If you guys want to hear me do my human anatomy, if you guys want me to do human anatomy, I can do it. I guess so much of it is personality. I guess there's no harm in sharing what's already been shared before. All right. Maybe I will teach human anatomy. You don't know. You have no idea. All right. Well, I love you guys. You guys rock. Sincerely, you guys rock. And I will talk to you all soon. I'm planning on streaming a lot more this week. I know I said that last time, but then I had to move for like 3 days and go on a crazy journey, so I wasn't in the studio. But I am planning on doing it more. Okay, for real. Now we're gonna end. Big smooches. Love you guys. Goodbye.